Welcome back to another episode of Dilbert's Garage. Last time you've seen this thing, we put a brand new clutch inside of it. But this time, we're going to be replacing the timing chain and the water pump. First, what you want to do is you want to jack the vehicle up and put jack stands under it on both sides. Next, we're going to take this cap here off, remove the studs, and peel this wheel liner housing out. So to remove the wheel liner here, we got a little nut right there you got to take off, and then you got that Torx, and then all these plastic pins just pull out of there. All these clips there, and don't forget about the one underneath here as well. And then you can peel that wheel housing liner right out. Alright, so we got the wheel liner housing out now, and I have discovered the leak. Well, it's hard to see because there's not a whole lot of light, but the water pump gasket is definitely leaking. There's all the antifreeze on the ground there. Now, we're going to come up here, pull all these coil packs out, pull the plugs out, see what they look like. After the plugs are pulled out, we're going to pull this clip here off, and we're going to take off this 8mm nut for that ground there, so we can pull this harness back out the way. Now we're going to take these two electrical connectors off, pull this vacuum line here off, set it to the side, and pull off the intake pipe. The intake is out of there. I pulled this connector here out, and we have 13 bolts to take out to get this valve cover off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Now we want to remove these 3 vibration dampener fasteners and pull the vibration dampener off. Didn't really video it, but I took this air cleaner box out, and it just had a I believe it was I used a T27 to get it out. And you just pulled that out there, and then the rest of these pins were just clipped in there. So you just popped right out. We're taking all the nuts that hold this intake on. Down here, you'll find, let me see, come on, let it focus. All right, down here, there'll be these rubber boots on these metal brackets. You gotta pull this one here off, and there's another one right down there that you gotta take off as well. So that one and that one. And then, down here, come in from where we took the wheel well housing out earlier, up there, there's a nut. There was a bolt that went through that hole right there into a plastic piece that's also held onto the intake, so you got to take that off as well. But that's where I'm at so far. Alright, so I actually didn't even take this off to get the intake out, but here's where that bolt went in that I was telling you at the very bottom to go into the wheel well housing. And then there's also like a couple holes like this along these brackets that these little push-in plastic clips go into after the intake goes back in. And I also had to squeeze the sides of this and just pull that off at the bottom of the intake. But now I got the intake out, I can keep on going. Now I've got the engine supported here with that bracket and this chain hoist. Well, it's not unbolted from the vehicle yet, but I just got it here because pretty soon we will be taking off these brackets because we got to access some bolts right in front of them. But for now, we're gonna come around the back of the engine, and we're gonna take this timing chain tensioner out. That's what we got to do next. So there was a 10mm bolt right here and right there, 2 10mm bolts, and then right in there is a T25 little Torx you got to take out, and then I'm going to take that hose clamp down there off and take this pipe out my way so I can access my bolts right there. So this bracket right here, I took that bracket out right here. If you see, it's just this one 10 mil bolt that holds it on, and then you can get in there a bit easier with your tools. Now that charge pipe is removed, we can access this nut here and that ground strap nut there. We're gonna get an 18 mil socket and turn the engine over, turn the crankshaft until these serial numbers on the tops of your intake and exhaust camshafts are pointed straight up in the air. And then that lets you know that the engine is just about in the perfect position to put this tool here in. I would pull it out and show you, but it was kind of hard to get in there because you gotta line it up perfectly. But it's in there, and all this tool does is lock the flywheel in place so the crankshaft cannot move. So I just removed this belt tensioner from right there. One bolt there, one bolt there. That bit right there that's set in goes over the dowel pin that comes out, and that one bolts to the block. And the bolts look like that. So in order to get this bracket out that was bolted to the front